My name is Jonty, a Singaporean-born Brit who has recently moved back to my country of birth. Over the past few years, I've been on a personal journey of discovery, learning about my heritage, understanding what it is that makes Singapore feel like home, and defining the things that lean my heart towards this island country in Southeast Asia. Join me as I uncover what it is that makes me the local immigrant. I've come to the lively suburb of Amakio today to find the apartment in which I lived for 2 years, my first ever home. Let's see if I can find it. My dad described the apartment block to me, so I'm looking out for kind of 4 blocks that are all around, I guess, in one central block. Let's see how successful this goes. That was quick. I think I found it already actually, so let's see. Here we are. I was born at Gleneagles Hospital in 1984. Those mathematicians among you will be able to work out how old I really am. Despite me telling everyone I'm 28 for the last however many years. And then I guess my parents had brought me home here. I had at the time an older sister who'd have been nearly 3. And yeah, so this is where I lived for the first nearly 2 years of my life before we moved to the UK. To be perfectly honest, I don't remember any of it. I have a few photos of childhood here, but there are things about Singapore that I guess make me feel like I'm home. And I wonder whether these things were built into me from my first 2 years here as a Singapore citizen and considering this area to be home. I'm looking forward in a little while to exploring a little bit and finding out a little bit about the neighbourhood and seeing what I can find. It was actually in 2014 my first trip back to Singapore as a dad. My son Milo had just turned 1. It was my wife's first trip, Millie's first trip here to Singapore as well. And we were here for quite a few weeks. The blessing of being teachers is that we had a long summer break in the UK, and we came here just to see my parents who had recently moved back. And after a couple of weeks, I suddenly realised that I felt more like me, and I couldn't really explain it. I couldn't put my finger on it. It started like a 6-year journey for me. It's been 6 years so far of discovery and finding out about my heritage and about what life is like in the country in which I was born. And I don't feel like there's anything missing in my life, but I feel like there's a lot that can be found, and I'm looking forward to discovering some things and sharing it with you. I've been sat here for maybe 15 minutes now, and it's been really nice to be able to see just the people around in the neighbourhood. There's been a group of people cleaning and clearing the place. I've seen sort of people delivering little packages or bits of furniture. It's quite a busy little hub, but yeah, it's really nice just to sit and take everything in. I'm actually going to go and see if I can find the actual apartment, the very apartment that I grew up in. But I might not film inside. Obviously I want to be sensitive to the residents and the people who live here now, so well, let's go have a look, shall we? So I'm actually in the stairwell just next to the apartment, but obviously I don't want to film it just to be sensitive to the people who live here, but it's so nice to be here. I'm taking a picture of the door, going to send it to my parents. It looks kind of, maybe they haven't updated it since I was a kid, but we'll see what my parents say when I check it out. But let's have a little look at the view here. I guess that hub's pretty new, definitely not 30 odd years old, 36 years old. But down here there's some food places, and maybe I'll check those out in a little while, but I'll have to ask my parents and see whether this is one of the places that we would have gone to when I was a kid. I've been very kindly welcomed in by some neighbours who let me take in the views from their homes. So very, very grateful, and such kind people. Some of the trains moving in and out. What an amazing time I've just had. There's a lovely, actually they're neighbours who live opposite each other. They're both doing renovations, but they invited me in. I was just explaining what I was doing. I was asking them about the observation deck at the top, and they were explaining that it's shut and it's only open to VIPs. But they invited me into their home to have a look out of the windows to see the views. They said that the layouts of their homes would be very similar to the layout of the apartment in which I grew up. So what a lovely experience and lovely people. So we decided to record this mini-series, I guess because I feel like a local, even though I'm an immigrant. And one of the things that I like to say is that even though my passport is British, my heart is Singaporean. And that's not to say I don't appreciate Britain for what they did for me in my years growing up there. I loved Britain, I still do, and actually I was treated very well there. But this is home. There's something else here in Singapore, heritage-wise, that I just feel like it's home. I feel very much like I belong here. Quite often we get asked about whether we enjoy the weather here, and I guess maybe as foreigners that's one of the things that Singaporeans think is going to be hard to deal with, or I don't know. But for me, that humid air, like the moment we walk out of Changi Airport and the humid air kind of just hits me, I have this moment where I do kind of take a deep breath and feel, I'm home. It's a little bit odd, really. On that note of feeling like I'm home, people ask me, how in the UK do I not feel like I'm home? What is it that doesn't feel right? And I guess it's really hard to put my finger on. I can't really describe the feeling. I guess at the moment there's a lot of race awareness, and maybe there's a little bit of that. I don't think that it was ever, I don't think I really encountered racism. There were elements every now and again, I guess, but really I felt different. I was definitely treated different. There were certain stereotypes that people would think of me as someone who had Asian heritage. People would assume that I was very good at math straight away, and that I knew some sort of martial art. I was alright at maths, but I'm definitely not a martial artist, so that was kind of funny. But I guess, yeah, presumptions like that maybe made me feel like I didn't quite belong, and I can't help but I look Chinese. I don't feel Chinese. I definitely feel Singaporean, but yeah, I guess that was something that I probably had to deal with in childhood. I'm super grateful to my parents for my very Singaporean home that we had in the UK. I really, really love the Singapore culture, and I really loved the home that we grew up in, and the things that we were taught. I think we definitely were taught more honour and respect than most of my UK friends. Not to say that they didn't have it, they definitely did have it, but I think it was something that was an emphasis in our home growing up. So at 2 years old, my dad went to, well, both my parents and my older sister and I moved to the UK for my dad to study and mum to work. And I guess there was always the intention to come back here to Singapore. But as my dad graduated from his masters and then got work in the UK, we ended up staying, and I think I was about 12 years old when we became citizens of the UK, and had to give up our Singaporean passports. And so I guess that answers the question that we get asked a lot, which is whether I served NS, and the answer was no, I didn't have the option to serve NS as I was no longer a Singapore citizen at that age. One of the things I love about local Singapore is just, I guess, the food culture, and I don't just mean dishes and meals and stuff, but I've just come down to the local hawker centre just here at the bottom of the apartment, and I'm grabbed myself a pao and a coffee for $2, and I'm just sat here enjoying a little bit of a snack and a coffee before I go on my way. And that whole feel of, I don't know, we've referred to it before on the channel as the kampong feel. It's that feel that everyone knows everybody. There's a real sense of community here, which is lovely. Like the neighbours upstairs who just let me come into their apartments to film and to chat to them and get to know them a little bit. And I think it's really cool. I love the fact that this is I guess a trait of Singapore culture, and it's something that we had in our family home in the UK when I was growing up. It's something that Millie and I, that we talked about when we were having a family of our own. We always wanted our door to be a door that was open to all of our friends and anybody who really wanted just to drop in for a meal or something. We always try to make sure we've got enough food in the fridge to be able to cook a meal quickly for anybody to be able to come and join us too. So yeah, it's just a beautiful culture to have. So my time here in Ang Mo Kio has come to an end. I'm going to head home now and actually spend the day with Milo. But I just want to thank you for joining me today. I want to thank you for being interested in the journey, and I hope that you have enjoyed it. We're going to do a few more of these episodes of The Local Immigrant, so do track along. If you've got any thoughts or comments or questions that you have for me, do just drop them in the comments below, and I'll look to answer them in the coming weeks and months. Thanks again, and we'll see you soon.